The warning. The Great Hall of Concordance hung suspended in space like a crystalline tear, its transparent walls offering a panoramic view of the swirling nebula beyond. Inside, representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for the Centennial Peace Summit, their diverse forms creating a living tapestry of galactic civilization. High Ambassador Thelivax of the Meridian Collective adjusted her iridescent robes, her 4 eyes scanning the assembled delegates. The humans were late again. Their representative was always late, a subtle power play that never failed to unnerve the more rigid species. But today's session couldn't begin without them, not when the agenda concerned humanity's rapid expansion into the outer rim. A ripple of movement caught her attention. Not the humans, but something far more unexpected. Through the main entrance glided 3 tall, silvery figures, their bodies seeming to shift between solid and gaseous states. Thelivax's secondary heart nearly stopped. The predecessors. They hadn't appeared before the council in over 3 centuries. "We come with warning," the central figure announced, its voice resonating directly in the minds of all present. The children play with fire. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's holoprojectors activated, filling the space with a 3-dimensional recreation of a battle that had occurred just 6 standard months ago. The Kralthak incursion, an event that had already become legend. The scene showed a human colony world, Novaya Praha, under attack by the notorious Kralthak swarm. The Kralthak, insectoid warriors who had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, had expected an easy conquest. They found something else entirely. "Observe," the predecessor commanded, "the species you dismiss as primitives." The assembled delegates watched as human defenders employed tactics that defied conventional military doctrine. Instead of retreating from the superior force, they engaged in what appeared to be suicidal counterattacks. But each seemingly desperate move was part of a larger strategy. Commander Rashid Hassan's voice echoed through the chamber as he coordinated the defense. "Strike teams Gamma and Delta. Commence Operation Honeypot. All civilians are secure in the deep bunkers. Time to show these bugs why you don't kick a hornet's nest." The humans had allowed the Kralthak to penetrate their outer defenses, drawing them into carefully prepared killing zones. Urban centers became deadly mazes where human soldiers, augmented by their powered armor and AI tactical systems, turned the swarm's numbers against them. Streets that appeared empty would suddenly erupt with plasma fire from all directions. Buildings that seemed abandoned contained devastating surprises. "Note their capacity for calculated violence," the predecessor continued. "But more importantly, observe their ability to adapt." The hologram shifted to show human scientists, even in the midst of battle, studying captured Kralthak technology and incorporating it into their defenses. Within days, they had developed countermeasures to the swarm's most effective weapons. But it was the final phase of the battle that truly silenced the chamber. The humans, having gathered detailed data on Kralthak battle tactics, launched a counteroffensive that could only be described as artistic in its brutality. They turned the very ground into a weapon, using terraforming technology in ways its creators had never imagined. In 72 hours, the predecessor stated, they accomplished what the combined forces of the Galactic Alliance failed to do in 3 centuries. They didn't merely defeat the Kralthak, they broke them. The hologram showed the surrender of the Kralthak Supreme Commander, the first time in their species' history they had ever yielded to an enemy. But what followed stunned the observers even more. The humans offering medical aid to their defeated foes, treating the injured with the same care they gave their own wounded. Ambassador Thelivax found her voice. "I don't understand. Are you warning us against the humans, or—" "We warn you of your own ignorance," the predecessor interrupted. "You see their warships, their weapons, their tactical brilliance, and you think you understand humanity. You do not." The hologram shifted one final time, showing the aftermath. Human children playing in restored parks, while Kralthak workers helped rebuild alongside human construction crews. Former enemies working together. Their greatest weapon is not their technology, nor their ferocity, the predecessor concluded. It is their duality. In one moment, they can be the most terrifying warriors in the galaxy. In the next, the most compassionate healers. They create with the same passion they destroy. They hate with the same intensity they love. They are a species of extremes, yet they make those extremes work in harmony. The chamber erupted in concerned murmurs as the delegates processed this revelation. The predecessors began to fade from view, but their final warning echoed in every mind. Do not mistake humanity's willingness to cooperate for weakness, nor their desire for peace as fear. They extend a hand in friendship not because they must, but because they choose to. Remember Novaya Praha. Remember what happened to the last species that mistook human kindness for vulnerability. As the predecessors vanished, the chamber's main doors finally opened to admit the human delegation. Ambassador James Chen strode in, characteristically late, looking slightly disheveled but wearing a warm smile. "Sorry I'm late, everyone," he announced cheerfully. "You wouldn't believe the traffic in the Horsehead Nebula these days. Did I miss anything important?" Thielevax watched as the other delegates subtly shifted away from the human ambassador, their body language betraying their new understanding of what his casual demeanor concealed. She wondered if he knew about the predecessor's visit, about the display they had just witnessed. The slight twinkle in his eyes suggested he knew exactly what had transpired, and that too was part of the message. Humans were always more aware than they appeared to be. The diplomat's gambit. Ambassador James Chen's quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel Olive Branch were deliberately modest, a subtle message to the galaxy that humans could be prudent, restrained. The irony wasn't lost on him as he reviewed footage of another border skirmish, this one between human colonists and Vaxteri raiders. "Play it again, Iris," he commanded his AI assistant. The holographic display showed human defense platforms responding to the raid with precise, devastating force. Almost too precise. Interesting timing, wouldn't you say? James mused, stroking his graying beard. Third random attack this month, each one requiring a decisive human military response. Someone's building a narrative. Pattern analysis suggests a 94% probability these incidents are orchestrated, Iris confirmed. The attacks follow similar tactical parameters despite originating from different species. A soft chime announced the arrival of first speaker Catal of the Vaxteri conclave. The tall, avian alien ducked through the doorway, his metallic feathers rustling with anxiety. "Ambassador Chen, I come bearing my people's deepest apologies for." James waved off the formality. "Please, Catal. We both know your people didn't authorize this raid. Have a seat, T." Kittle's head crest flattened in surprise. You're not demanding reparations. I think we both prefer to discuss who's really behind these attacks." James poured 2 cups of jasmine tea. "Though I must admit, they're doing an excellent job of making humanity look like the galaxy's boogeyman." The Vaxteri diplomat accepted the cup with trembling talons. The raid leader, when we interrogated him, he claimed to have received intelligence about human weapons being smuggled through that colony, but our investigation found no such evidence. "Of course not." James sipped his tea. "Just like there were no biological weapons on the Centauri outpost the Krell attacked last week. Someone's pushing us all toward conflict, Catal. The question is, who benefits?" Before Catal could respond, Iris's avatar flickered to life. "Ambassador, priority transmission from Nova Praha. Admiral Hassan requests immediate contact." The holographic display shifted to show Commander Rashid Hassan, now promoted to Admiral after the Kralthak incident. His dark eyes held the weight of troubling news. "James, we got a situation. Remember those anomalous energy signatures we detected during the recent attacks? We finally traced their origin. Hassan's image was replaced by a star chart. They're coming from the Void Reach." Kittle's feathers stood on end. The Forbidden Zone. But no one has ventured there since. Since the predecessors sealed it off 10,000 years ago. James finished. "Apparently, someone's decided to break quarantine. Hassan's image returned. That's not all. We've intercepted communication suggesting multiple species have received anonymous intelligence about human military movements. They're being fed information designed to make us look like we're preparing for massive military expansion. James set down his tea, his casual demeanor falling away like a discarded mask. They're not just pushing for war. They're making sure everyone thinks we'll strike first. He turned to Catal. How many species have access to predecessor technology capable of generating those energy signatures? The Vaxteri diplomat's crest drooped. Only the archivists of Nexus. They were entrusted with maintaining certain predecessor artifacts after the Great Exodus. The same archivists, James noted, who've been surprisingly absent from recent galactic councils. Hassan's expression darkened. James, if the archivists are behind this, they have access to technology we can barely comprehend. Why would they want to provoke a war with humanity? Perhaps, Kittel ventured, they've seen something in the predecessor archives that frightens them. About humanity's potential. James stood, walking to the viewport, stars streaked by in rivers of light, each one representing worlds that could be drawn into this brewing conflict. Or perhaps they've learned something about humanity's past, our connection to the predecessors. Ambassador, Iris interrupted, incoming priority alert. The Krell Defense Force has just launched a full battle fleet, citing intelligence about an imminent human attack on their core worlds. How convenient, James muttered. He turned to Catal. First speaker, I need your help. Humanity could crush the Krell fleet, but that's exactly what our mysterious provocateurs want. Instead, I propose something unexpected. Kittel's head tilted curiously. What did you have in mind? The Vaxteri are known for their diplomatic corps. If you were to intervene, offer your space as neutral ground for negotiations. James smiled, but his eyes remained sharp. It might buy us time to investigate the Void Reach. The archivists would object, Catal warned. Let them. James's smile turned predatory. In fact, I'm counting on it. Sometimes the best way to flush out your enemy is to let them think their plan is working. Hassan's hologram flickered. I'll have the 7th Fleet ready to move on your signal. But James, if we're right about the archivists, we're playing a dangerous game. Humanity's got a reputation for that, James replied, his earlier diplomatic facade completely gone. Time to show them why we earned it. As Kittel departed to contact his government, James turned back to the viewport. Somewhere out there in the Void Reach, ancient machines were humming to life, pushing the galaxy toward war. But their operators had made a crucial mistake. They'd assumed humanity's diplomatic overtures meant they'd gone soft. They were about to learn what the Kralthak had discovered at Nova Praha. Humans were most dangerous when they appeared to be at their most peaceful. Iris, he commanded, send a message to Earth Command. Authorization, Chen Alpha 79. Message begins. The game is afoot. Prepare contingency Thermopylae. The AI hesitated for a microsecond. Sir, Thermopylae protocols were classified as a worst-case scenario. Indeed they were, James agreed, watching the stars streak by. Let's hope we don't need them. But if the archivists want to see humanity's true potential, well, we should be prepared to give them exactly what they're asking for. The pieces were set. The game was in motion. And somewhere in the darkness of the Void Reach, ancient powers were about to learn why even the predecessors treated humanity with cautious respect. The Crucible, deep in the Void Reach, where space itself seemed to fold unnaturally, the Joint Task Force moved in eerie silence. 3 human warships flanked by Vaxteri vessels, and a single massive Krell dreadnought. An alliance that would have been unthinkable weeks ago. On the bridge of the HMS Excalibur, Admiral Hassan watched the sensor readings with growing unease. Something's not right. These energy signatures, they're too clean, too perfect. Fleet Commander Zora Singh, his second in command, nodded in agreement, her cybernetic eye whirred as it processed the data. Like someone wants us to follow them. A trail of breadcrumbs. Or a trap, Hassan muttered. On the main view screen, The wreckage of ancient spacecraft drifted by. Remnants of civilizations that had dared venture into the void reach millennia ago. A transmission cut through the tense atmosphere. Human vessel. This is Archon Valtech of the Krell. Our sensors detect movement ahead. Multiple signatures, unlike anything in our database. Hassan exchanged glances with Singh. Acknowledged, Archon. Hold position. Let's see what we're dealing with. The void ahead shimmered, and reality seemed to twist. From the distortion emerged massive structures. Angular, crystalline formations that defied normal spacetime. The Archivist's hidden outpost. By the first light, breathed Kettle's voice over the comm. Those are predecessor quantum arrays. But they're active. That's impossible. Impossible is humanity's specialty. Hassan replied grimly. All vessels, battle formations, whatever happens next. The arrays pulsed with blinding light. Space itself screamed. When the light faded, Hassan's blood ran cold. Surrounding their small fleet were dozens of ships, perfect replicas of vessels from various species, including human warships. Clever, Singh whispered. Create incidents with fake ships, push us all into war. A new voice echoed through all their communication systems, ancient, resonating with artificial harmonics. The test subjects have arrived. Proceed with final evaluation. The replica ships opened fire. What followed would later be known as the Battle of the Mirror Fleet. The Joint Task Force found themselves fighting twisted versions of themselves, each replica using their own tactics against them. But the Archivists had made a crucial miscalculation. All vessels, execute maneuver helix, Hassan commanded. The human ships moved in perfect synchronization with their alien allies, performing battle strategies they had developed together during the journey to the Void Reach. The replica ships, programmed with historical combat data, couldn't adapt to these hybrid tactics. A human ship would provide cover fire using Vaxteri energy patterns, while Krell forces executed precision strikes using human-inspired mobility. Fascinating, the ancient voice commented. The subjects demonstrate unexpected synchronicity. Escalating parameters. The quantum arrays pulsed again. The replica ships began to merge, forming monstrous hybrid vessels that defied physical laws. Admiral, Singh reported, our shields can't take much more. These weapons are rewriting local physics. Hassan opened a channel to all ships. This isn't just a battle, it's a test. They want to see how we handle impossible odds. So let's show them something truly impossible. He took a deep breath. Execute Protocol Thermopylae. Kettle's voice crackled with concern. Admiral, your Ambassador Chen briefed us on Thermopylae. The risks are better than the alternative, Hassan finished. Humanity survived its childhood by doing what everyone thought was impossible. Time to live up to our reputation. Across the human vessels, crews began emergency protocols. Special chambers opened, releasing carefully controlled bursts of exotic particles, humanity's greatest secret. Impossible. The ancient voice actually showed emotion for the first time. Surprise. The subjects possess quantum manipulation capabilities. This was not in any projection. The human ships began to glow with an inner light. What the galaxy didn't know was that humanity's first contact hadn't been with current spacefaring races, but with a dying predecessor who had crashed on Earth millennia ago. The knowledge it shared was buried deep in human history, emerging in myths of magic and alchemy. Now, that knowledge had been refined through science. All vessels, clear the blast radius, Hassan ordered their allies. The human ships formed a triangle, their quantum fields interconnecting. The ancient voice spoke again, now with genuine concern. Cease this action. The containment fields cannot. Hassan smiled grimly. Humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our ferocity. It's our willingness to do what must be done, no matter the cost. Initiate quantum cascade. The space between the human ships imploded, creating a localized rupture in space-time that devoured the replica fleet and severely damaged the quantum arrays. As reality stabilized, Hassan looked at the cost. All three human ships were crippled, their quantum drives burned out. Status report, he called out to their allies. By all that's sacred, Archon Valtech responded. We knew humans were capable of violence, but this, to weaponize reality itself. Not weaponize, Hassan corrected. Sacrifice. We burned out systems that took decades to develop, revealed our greatest technological secret, and risked our own existence. Because that's what was necessary to protect not just humanity, but all of you as well. The damaged quantum arrays flickered weakly. From them emerged a holographic figure, tall, crystalline, ancient, an actual archivist. The test is concluded, it announced. We needed to understand if humanity's potential was a threat or an asset. Now we know. Know what? Hassan demanded. That when faced with extinction, you chose sacrifice over dominance, power over destruction, protection over conquest. The archivist's form began to fade. The predecessors were right about your species. You are ready. Ready for what? Singh asked. But the archivist was gone, leaving them with damaged ships, more questions than answers, and the beginnings of an alliance forged in the crucible of an impossible battle. The hidden truth. In the aftermath of the Void Reach battle, the archivist's abandoned outpost yielded secrets that shook the foundations of galactic civilization. Ambassador James Chen stood in the facility's central chamber, surrounded by holographic displays showing data that rewrote history itself. This can't be right, Ketal whispered, his feathers drooping in shock. The predecessors didn't vanish. They merged with primitive species across the galaxy. James confirmed, his eyes scanning the ancient records. Seeding their knowledge, their potential, through genetic manipulation. But only one species took to the changes completely. Admiral Hassan, who had arrived via emergency transport after the battle, stepped closer to a particular display. Humans, we're not just their successors. We're their descendants. The chamber hummed with energy as more records activated, responding to their presence. The walls themselves became screens, showing the true history of humanity's evolution. The predecessors, facing extinction from an extragalactic threat, had spread themselves across thousands of worlds, embedding their essence into promising species. The quantum manipulation abilities, Singh realized, her cybernetic eye processing the data. They're not technology we developed. They're genetic memories awakening. James nodded grimly. And the archivists aren't just record keepers. They're guardians, making sure no species accesses these memories before they're ready. He turned to face the others. The attacks, the provocations, the impossible battle, it was all a test of how we'd use these emerging abilities. But why now? Hassan demanded. Why push us to the brink of galactic war just to test us? The answer came from an unexpected source. The chamber's eye awakened, projecting the form of an archivist different from the one they'd encountered in battle. This one appeared older, more weathered. Because they are returning, it announced, its voice resonating with ancient power. The ones who drove the predecessors to such desperate measures. The Void Hunters. The displays shifted, showing something that defied comprehension. Massive entities moving between galaxies, consuming everything in their path. Living voids that devoured light, matter, and even space-time itself. 3 million years ago, they destroyed the predecessor's civilization. The archivist AI continued. Only the plan to seed our essence throughout the galaxy preserved hope for the future. Now the hunters have sensed the quantum awakening in humanity. They come to finish what they started. James felt a chill run down his spine. How long do we have? 50 years, perhaps less. The AI's form flickered. This facility contains more than records. It houses the tools you'll need. Technologies, knowledge, weapons. But using them requires something only humanity has proven capable of. The ability to share power, Ketal realized. In the battle, the humans didn't try to dominate us. They coordinated, sacrificed, protected. Precisely. The AI gestured, and new sections of the facility lit up, revealing chambers filled with crystalline technology. The predecessor's greatest weapons cannot be wielded by one species alone. They require harmony, cooperation, the very things the Void Hunters cannot comprehend. Hassan exchanged looks with his alien counterparts. That's why you tested us with the replica fleet. You needed to know if we'd try to seize power for ourselves. And you chose differently, the AI confirmed. Even when faced with extinction, humans demonstrated the capacity to rise above mere survival instinct. You proved worthy of your inheritance. James stepped forward. But there's more, isn't there? The quantum abilities we're developing, they're just the beginning. The AI's form solidified, becoming more distinct. The predecessor essence within humanity is fully awakening. Your species will soon develop capabilities that will seem godlike to your current understanding. The archivists needed to ensure you would be responsible guardians of such power. By making us prove we'd sacrifice that power to save others, Singh concluded. The chamber hummed louder, and new displays activated, showing the true scope of what humanity would become. The images were both beautiful and terrifying. Humans evolving beyond physical form, merging consciousness with technology, reshaping reality itself. But we can't do it alone, James stated, looking at their alien allies. The predecessor's plan wasn't just about creating a powerful species. It was about fostering cooperation across the galaxy. Because only together can we face what's coming. The AI nodded. The knowledge in this facility will transform all your species, but in different ways. Each race will develop unique abilities, complementing each other. Humanity's role is not to rule, but to unite, to help each species awaken their own dormant potential. Hassan stepped forward. How do we begin? By understanding the truth of what you are. The eye waved its hand, and the chamber filled with one final image, a map of human DNA, showing dormant sequences that were beginning to activate. You are not just descendants of the predecessors. You are their hope, their redemption, and their legacy. But more importantly, you are the bridge between what life is and what it can become. The weight of this revelation settled over them all. Humanity's reputation as warriors hadn't drawn the archivists' attention. It was their capacity for both incredible violence and incredible compassion, their ability to unite different species even in the face of extinction. As the facility continued revealing its secrets, James couldn't help but smile at the irony. The galaxy had feared humanity's potential for destruction, never realizing that their true destiny was creation. The species everyone had feared would start a war was actually meant to prevent the ultimate extinction. But first, they had to prepare the galaxy for what was coming. And they had 50 years to turn ancient enemies into allies against a threat that had once destroyed the most powerful civilization in history. The real test was just beginning. The resolution. 50 years passed in the blink of a cosmic eye. The Great Hall of New Terra's Unity Complex stretched for kilometers, its crystalline dome reflecting the light of 3 suns. Representatives from every known spacefaring species gathered beneath it, no longer as separate entities, but as parts of a greater whole. Ambassador Chen's grandson, Marcus Chen, stood at the central podium. At 120 years old, his physical age appeared no more than 40. One of many gifts from humanity's awakened genetics. Behind him, a massive quantum display showed the approaching threat. Vast regions of space, simply ceasing to exist as the Void Hunters drew near. The moment our ancestors prepared us for has arrived, Marcus announced, his voice carrying to all present. The enemy that destroyed the predecessors will reach our galaxy in 7 days. The assembled representatives didn't panic. They had spent 50 years preparing for this moment. Every species had evolved, transformed by the careful application of predecessor knowledge. The Vaxteri had developed the ability to perceive and manipulate temporal waves. The Krell had mastered quantum entanglement at a biological level. Each race had found its unique expression of transcendence. But it was humanity that had changed the most. Admiral Hassan's daughter, Amara Hassan, rose from her seat. Like all humans now, her form shifted subtly, physical matter interweaving with quantum energy. The defense networks are ready. Every star system is connected through the quantum matrix. We faced them as one. The plan they had spent half a century perfecting was elegant in its complexity. Each species would contribute its unique abilities to create something unprecedented: a galactic consciousness, a unified field of awareness and power that could match the Void Hunter's incomprehensible nature. "We've detected 13 hunters," Marcus continued. "Living voids, each one capable of devouring entire star clusters. But we have something they don't understand, something the predecessors discovered too late." He gestured, and the quantum display shifted to show the intricate network humanity had helped create. Billions of minds linked together, each contributing their unique perspective and power to the whole. Not through domination or control, but through harmony and choice. The hunters consume because they can perceive reality only as separate pieces, Marcus explained. They cannot comprehend unity, cannot understand that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. This is why the predecessors chose humanity, not for our strength, but for our ability to bring together the different, the divided, the disparate. As if responding to his words, the quantum matrix began to pulse with energy. Across the galaxy, every sentient being could feel the connection, the merging of consciousness and purpose. Humanity's gift had been to show them how to unite without losing their individuality. The first hunter appeared at the galaxy's edge, a vast nothingness that consumed light and matter, a void that moved with malevolent purpose. As it approached the outer defense networks, it encountered something it had never faced before: unified resistance. Vaxteri temporal manipulators created bubbles of slowed time, giving their allies crucial moments to respond. Krell quantum engines redirected the hunter's consumption ability back upon itself. Human consciousness wove through it all, coordinating, adapting, unifying. But it wasn't enough. "The hunter is adapting," Amara reported, her form flickering as she channeled more power. "It's learning, evolving its attack patterns." Marcus closed his eyes, connecting to the galactic consciousness. "Then we show them our final evolution, the step the predecessors knew would be necessary." He opened his eyes, which now shone with inner light. "Initiate the Transcendence Protocol." Across the galaxy, humans began to transform. Their forms dissolved into pure energy, becoming living conduits for the quantum matrix. Each human consciousness expanded, merging with the technology they had spent 50 years developing, becoming living bridges between physical reality and quantum potential. The hunter recoiled as it encountered this new form of existence. For the first time in its ancient history, it experienced something alien to its nature: doubt. Through the unified consciousness, Marcus spoke to all. The predecessors faced the hunters as they were, powerful, but limited by physical form. We face them as we can be, transcendent, unified, infinite in our diversity. The hunter struck, trying to devour a star system. But now, every atom in that system was connected to the whole. Every particle sang with unified purpose. Physical laws themselves began to bend as billions of minds, guided by transcended human consciousness, rewrote the rules of reality. The hunter tried to retreat, but found itself surrounded by possibility itself, the combined potential of every species working in perfect harmony. For the first time, it encountered something greater than its hunger, more vast than its void: the combined creative potential of unified life. Marcus raised his hands, his form now pure energy. "Together, we are more than the sum of our parts. Together, we are the answer to extinction. Together, we are life's response to the void." The galaxy itself seemed to pulse as every species contributed their power, their understanding, their unique perspective to the whole. The hunter, faced with something it could neither consume nor comprehend, began to collapse in on itself. As the first hunter fell, the others approached, drawn by the death of their kin. But now the galaxy was ready. Humanity had fulfilled its purpose, not as conquerors, not as warriors, but as unifiers. They had shown the galaxy how to transcend its limitations, how to become something greater than mere survival. The real war was beginning. But for the first time since the predecessor's fall, life faced extinction, not as separate, frightened species, but as one unified force, infinite in its diversity, boundless in its potential. Marcus looked out at the approaching hunters, his consciousness extended through the quantum matrix, feeling the combined strength of every species flowing through him. He smiled as he gave the command that would begin the true test of their transformation. All life, as one. Show them what we've become. The galaxy blazed with unified purpose, ready to face the void not with destruction, but with creation. The final evolution had begun.